Good afternoon and welcome to Nilla South. Today we're going to have an episode called Never Buy Bread Again. So I'll tell you a few reasons why you don't want to buy bread from the store. The next time that you would purchase bread, flip that bread around and look at the ingredients. You will see things like licodin, maybe fructose corn syrup, maybe even dyes. Several extra ingredients of just ingredients that in their pure form you really just don't recognize. Those are often put in the bread to make it like the texture in your mouth, like dough conditioners, where you want more of that, or also just things that maybe mess with your glycemic index just a little bit. So I think just the pure form of regular old bread like our grandparents, our great-grandparents had is really just a lot better for you. So today we're going to go over how basically anybody can make bread. I'm not going to use the KitchenAid. I'm not going to use any of the things that I have to make this easier whenever I do it. Sometimes I just do this in a bowl at home really quick. And so that's what I'm going to show you today, how basically anybody can do this. You don't need anything special to be able to do it, and we'll go through that. And this is a 7-ingredient bread, and all of the ingredients that we're going to put into this bread, you'll recognize the name of the ingredient in their pure form: water, flour, butter, yeast, salt, a tiny pinch of vinegar, and that basically, I think I got everything. That's it. So it's super easy, and also just ingredients that you recognize to feed your family. So we'll go through how to do this and how anybody can do it. And if you're not good at kneading, we can also go through how it can be done where you don't have much of that to do. You really don't have to knead. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so we are here right now. I have some lukewarm water. Once again, I'll go over this temperature with you for bread making. You'll want to use lukewarm water, which is basically if you would think about the temperature that you would bathe a baby at. So just barely warm, but not hot. And it's that temperature you would, I guess, chest with your wrist if you were bathing a baby, but it's that same temperature because yeast is very, very delicate. If you go too hot, you're going to kill it. If you don't go hot enough, it won't activate. So that's what we're going to do right here. Here's my 2 1/4 teaspoon of yeast. This is basically a packet of yeast. Come in with that. This warm water will help activate the yeast. And then I'm also going to add in my sugar. So with this sugar, I have 3 tablespoons of sugar. This will go in with the water and the yeast. This also helps to activate that yeast. So we'll put that sugar in, and then I'm just going to give this a really quick little mix and allow that to sit, and a foam is going to form on the top of this, and that's how I know that that yeast is actually activated and it will be good to use in our bread. So we'll watch that. For the ingredients that will go into the bread itself. Oops, I'm spilling a little bit of my vinegar. I am going to take a teaspoon of vinegar, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in my melted butter. This is 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter that is melted, and I'm going to put a teaspoon of vinegar in this. It will sour that milk fat just a little bit and just give it just a little something extra. I'll allow that to sit. 4 1/2 cups of flour. This is half wheat, half white. You could do half white, half oat flour. You could do all white flour. You could do all wheat flour. You could do rice flour and oat flour if gluten was an issue, or if there was a wheat allergy. I'm sorry. You could do rice flour and oat flour if there was a wheat allergy. So you can kind of mix these flours up. It's still going to work. Okay, so that's 4 1/2 cups of flour. And then I'm going to come in here with a teaspoon and a half of salt. Give that a good mix. With this, you would want to start this either to make your life easier. Like if you're just very busy, you could just whip this together before you go to bed at night. And then you'd be able to cover it and it would be ready for you to put in the oven in the morning, like when you wake up. That's one way to do it. Or today, I'm going to allow it to sit a few hours. But it's really no work once I mix it together. So this is very doable and very easy and something you can do without a mixer. So this yeast is starting to activate and you can see the little bubbles rising. I'm not quite ready. So I'm going to just leave this alone a minute, maybe another 2 minutes, and then it should be we'll be ready to go in. Okay, so we're back here with the yeast, and I'll show you how it has this foam that is formed on top. That is what I'm looking for, and that's how I know that this did indeed activate. So I'm going to go ahead and take this, and I'm going to give this a stir, because a lot of times sugar will want to, it'll want to stay at the bottom. So I'm going to give this a really good stir to make sure I have that sugar all mixed in. And going to stir this. Oops, spilling a little bit once again. Okay, I do that often, so sorry. And I'll also come in with my butter. This is 3 tablespoons of butter and a teaspoon of vinegar. So I'll come in with that. And then I'm just going to give this a stir. Stir this and incorporate everything in with this flour. Don't even have to get your hands dirty right here. That's how easy this is. And you just want to make sure that you incorporate all the flour off the sides. Okay. Now that I have this in here, I will take my hands and just to kind of activate that gluten and everything, I'm going to give this just a quick mix with my hands. Just a turn. If you're not big on kneading, you just turn and kind of smush it, give it and activate with your hands. And if you flour your hands a little, it won't get as messy as mine are right now. Okay. All right, now I'm going to take some oil and I'm going to oil this bowl. And flip my bread. I want to make sure it's oiled on both sides so it doesn't dry out. Use olive oil or regular oil, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure that you get it a little bit all over both sides of your clump of the dough. Okay. Once you have that all oiled, the bowl is oiled, the top has some oil, I'm going to take a towel, put it over the top, and I will allow this to rest. I would say at least 2 to 3 hours. So if you need, you could go 4. If you need longer, you can. If you want to mix this at night and deal with it in the morning, you can do that as well. That part is not super difficult. You just need to allow it to do its first rise. Okay, so we're going to put this to the side and we'll come back later and I'll show you how easy it is to bake this homemade bread. Okay, I'm back with this episode of Never Buy Bread Again. So the last time I was with you guys, I showed you a little trick where we put the bread in the oven. The oven was, I turned it off. I had started it to heat, let it get a little bit warm, press cancel, shut the oven off, and then put a cup of water or a little dish of water in the oven to give the bread that moist, warm environment that will lend itself to assisting that bread in rising. So we will now take a look at that bread. It's been in there about 2 hours, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so we will come here, and I'll show you what I see. Oh, yes, yes, Lord. To get it starting to stick to my rag a little bit. Stop it. Okay, so we got that. I don't like it. I lost a little bit to the rag. Okay, that's all right. I'm not gonna get into it with this dish towel that stuck to my bread. All right, so here we are, and this has been rising, and it is about doubled in size. Just want to show you where we're at with that. Okay. If you are just an amateur and you don't want to have to knead this very much, I'll show you what I'll do now, okay? So I'm going to take this, and if you're not like a professional at the kneading, you do need to do a little bit just to activate it. I'm going to, almost like you're folding a blanket, and then push. Fold, push, okay? You don't have to be a master to be able to pull this off. Fold it like you're folding a blanket. Smush it all around. Having way too much fun with this. Okay. And that is what you are looking at that point. Okay, I am out of parchment paper. Normally I would put parchment paper in this container because it just makes it easier to pull it out, but I'm out right now. And I'm gonna butter this dish. This is just some unsalted butter. Put it all around the sides and make sure I have everything covered. This dish is kind of warm because it did just come out of the dishwasher, so it's definitely lending itself to this. You could also use some cooking oil, olive oil. Any of those are fine. Have that done. So what I'm going to do for the second rise on this bread is I'm actually going to let it rise in the dish itself, just to make my life easier for the second rise. And take just a little bit of flour over here. Not stick to me. Not too much because you don't want to dry it out. Grab that flour. Dough, and then I'll flour the other side. Just a little flour on my hands so my hands don't get so sticky. I'm going to flour this. So I have my flour dough, not a ton of flour in there. Take it. Have my buttered pan, get this dough out, put it right here on my counter. Oh my goodness. So much fun to play with dough. All right. I am gonna roll this. Roll it, roll it, roll it. Get this little bitty log right there. Okay. Lift that up, put it in the pan. Beautiful. This is gonna get enormous, okay? So I will leave this here, and then once again I'm going to cover it so it can rise. Put just a tiny bit of this flour because my dish towel stuck and I was annoyed, okay? Take this, cover this bad boy up. I am going to throw this in the microwave to let it do the second rise, and then we'll come back to it and it'll be time to bake it. Right. I am back now to take the bread, and it's on its second rise, and I actually moved it to I have it in the microwave. I had put a cup of water. I let that boil for about 2 minutes, a cup of water, and then I just turned the microwave off with that steam in there from the cup of water, and I put my bread in the microwave for that second rise. So I'll show you what that looks like. I do have my oven preheating to 350, so we'll bake that. And like I said, if you would come in like from work or something and you want to do this, mix all the bread together, let it do its first rise before you go to bed, and then the next morning, go ahead and put it in the bread pan and then let it rise overnight. And then the next morning when you wake up, if you wanted to bake it, super easy. And one of the reasons I had given you like all of the extra ingredients that are in white bread and all of the things that are like either chemicals or just overall unhealthy, all of the extra ingredients, where this bread only has 7 ingredients, and they're all ingredients that you can understand what they are. Basic flour, sugar, a little bit of salt, water, butter, just basic ingredients. So there aren't all of those extra fillers. But the other reason too, another good reason to make bread, is it only costs about 40, maybe 50 cents to make a large loaf of bread, where if you would buy it from the grocery store, it's $4 or $5. So that's another really good reason to make your own bread. We'll go later into some add-ons that you can do, like if you like honey, if you like honey wheat, if you like oat bread, if your family is gluten-free. I will show you some of the ways that you can make your own bread in those areas as well. You could do this exact recipe if you were gluten-free with oat flour and rice flour. You can still make this recipe if you were not gluten-free, I'm sorry, had a wheat allergy. Right now I am working on sourdough starter, so I'm hoping to explore that more in the future too, for guys that are gluten-free, how to make your breads. So I'll take this out, show you what it looks like. Okay, I am gonna have this little pan of water. I'm gonna put this in the oven whenever I bake the bread for that steam. I have a Dutch oven that fits my bread pan in it. Well, I have one, but it's really, really huge and really, really heavy, so I'm not going to mess with that today. But I'll go ahead and take this bread out and show you what it looks like. So here's this bread. So the first rise for about 2 hours, and then about 2.5 hours for the second rise. Look how beautiful. That is absolutely gorgeous. So we're going to put that in the oven on 350. And let it go to town, and then take it out. If you wanted a smaller loaf, you could make 2 smaller loaves with this. It's just up to you. We use the big loaves. Then I'm going to put this water right underneath it, so the steam will be in the oven. And I have this oven on 350. I'm going to leave it. It'll take about 30 minutes or so. So then we'll come back and check it out. I would like to show you, I have a loaf in the refrigerator. So this, whenever you make your own bread and you leave it out, like on your counter or whatever, just know this doesn't have preservatives and all of those things like the store-bought bread does. So I wouldn't leave it out more than a few days. Because it may start to mold. It just doesn't have all of the additives and preservatives that keep those things from happening. So we usually put ours in the refrigerator, and then I make toast in the morning for my little boy. He loves toast with honey butter on top of it. So I can actually show you what that loaf looks like. So this is a loaf that we currently have. I'll wrap it up once it completely cools. I usually leave it out a day or two, and then I put it up because I don't want to waste it. And what I really like about it is you can cut this bread as thin or as thick as you like. Now this one isn't as pretty as the one I made for you guys, because I don't really make them pretty. I don't really care when it's just me, but I made yours a little prettier. I think yours is going to come out a little prettier. Here is my beautiful bread loaf. But one of my favorite things about this bread is, I'm going to take my bread knife, the serrated bread knife, and I'll show you. So like, let's say if you're low carb, or if you do this with whole wheat and you're eating kind of low carb, or you're watching your carbs, you can cut this as, if you have it in the refrigerator, it's going to make it so easy to slice this very, very thin. So you could actually have 2 slices of this to make yourself a sandwich, or 2 slices of toast or whatever with your eggs, and it will not have as many carbs. So you have control over the slices that you do. So for my little boy, I usually do really thick cuts because he likes that, and I put it in the toaster, and then I will mix together just some unsalted butter, a little bit of honey, and put that on top of there, and that's his favorite, one of his favorite breakfasts. So I'm going to close this up because I'm not going to waste that slice right now, but I just wanted to show you what that looks like and tell you a little bit about the refrigeration and the fact that there are no preservatives. That's why you hear people talk about like fast food restaurants. You could take their hamburgers, or some of them, I'm not going to mention names, but you take the hamburger, you can leave it out, and a month later it's going to look exactly the same, or things like that. You're not going to have that whenever you're making real food with real ingredients. They don't have those preservatives. We'll be back soon to look at our finished product and, of course, taste it. Okay, I just wanted to show you this. I really wasn't going to include this in the video, but I would like to just show it to you, just in case you would want to do this. This is so good. This is similar to the blueberries that I made for my king cakes, or you can put the blueberry, make sort of like a jelly-ish texture with biscuits. Absolutely delicious. This is sliced strawberries, just in I guess it would be in water, kind of made a juice. I bought these frozen at the grocery store, so this isn't fresh strawberry. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on high. I have about, it's probably about 3/4 cup in here of that. And now I'm going to take a little bit of cornstarch, probably a tablespoon or so, not much. And I did put 4 tablespoons of sugar in this mixture. So then I'm going to take some water in my cornstarch and kind of mix that around. And I need to get this in here before it starts like boiling or getting too hot, because that'll be an issue. And just make it like a little bit of milk with water. And then we're going to go in here with this. This is going to be absolutely delicious. We'll be able to eat that with butter on the bread. And I'm also going to use some of this to, I'm making several king cakes this afternoon. So I will use this in the king cakes. It's going to be one of the fillings that I use this afternoon. So I just wanted to kind of show you this. And I'm looking for my right thing, but this will work. Okay, so I'm going to let this go to high. That's about 4 tablespoons of sugar, a little bit of the strawberry mixture, some water that has cornstarch mixed into it, about 1.5 tablespoons. And then I'm going to let this come to a boil. I want those strawberries to break up a little bit more than they are now, so I'll use this tool that would normally, I guess, be used with ground beef, but it works with anything, really. Take this, and I'm going to give these strawberries kind of a loose cut. This is so good with any breakfast, and you can serve it hot. I do it with blueberries as well. It's going to thicken. Who doesn't love strawberries? I'm on high heat. There it goes. It'll start to bubble. And I'm sort of breaking these strawberries up. Oh my goodness. Y'all. The white comes out because the cornstarch is cooking. This is amazing. Now, to go on my toast, I would use it just like this with the big pieces of strawberry in it. Whenever I put this in my piping bag for my king cakes, I probably will give it like a really quick pulse with like a in the little blender thing, just so I don't have these big chunks of strawberry. but I don't want it all to go away. So I'm not going to completely, mix it to where it has no texture. But to pipe it, you do need to get rid of some of these big chunks, or it's just not going to pipe very well. But on the bread itself, this is going to be phenomenal. Okay, let that just continue, and it'll thicken as it cools. Okay, show you kind of. Look at this. You don't make jelly, you don't can, it doesn't matter. You can still do this. This is so easy to do. Still very hot. Okay. Oh my goodness, this is so good. This is so good. Your family will be impressed. Everybody will be impressed. Serve this hot. Toast, biscuits, pancakes. It will be amazing. We'll be back soon to take that bread out of the oven, and can't wait to show you how good it's going to be. Okay, so our bread has been in the oven about 30 minutes. I'm getting ready to take that out. And also, I just wanted to tell you guys, just remember, like, most people would put this bread and make 2 loaves of bread with it, but I'm just a little extra, so it's big, but that's how we like it. We do this, so it's up to you, and whenever you're making it, you can do whatever you want to do. It will definitely make 2 normal loaves of bread. All right, so here's our loaf of bread, and the reason I say most people would make 2 loaves of bread is look at the size of this. It is definitely a hearty loaf of bread. So get a plate. Okay, so I did have a little bit of struggle getting this out of the pan because I didn't have parchment paper, and I didn't realize how amazing parchment paper really is in these situations. I always use it. You live and you learn. Whew, hot, hot. I'm gonna cut a piece of this while it's hot to show you some of the goodness. Oh my goodness, it's a big bread. I'm gonna cut the bottom. I don't want to cut any more off of it. Okay. So, if you were going to use this for sandwich bread, you would definitely probably want to do it in 2 pans, or we just like it like this. So I'll take a little bit of this honey butter here. This is one of my son's favorite ways to eat this. This is just unsalted butter and regular honey, organic honey and unsalted butter on this slice. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of unsalted butter on this slice. On this piece. I don't think I'm going to use that one because that is not a good slice. Another piece here. Just going to cut a top. Okay, and then I'm going to take some unsalted butter on this one, and I'm going to take some of these strawberry preserves. I'm going to save that one from a little boy, but I will have a taste of it. Okay, so we'll take this. Taste of each. The honey butter. No, it's heaven. It really is. It's heaven. Okay. And the strawberry preserves. Do this. This is amazing. Homemade bread. 7 ingredients. This will actually make 2 loaves if you want to slice it for sandwiches. Once that you put this in the refrigerator, it is very easy to slice into thin slices. Right now it's just not a good example because it's hot and it's just harder to cut into these thin slices. I'm supposed to save this for my son. Homemade bread, you guys enjoy? I hope you're able to make this with your family, and you will dazzle them all. I promise you. Thank you so much for joining me today on Nilla South. I appreciate you cooking with me, and I look forward to cooking many recipes in the future. Okay, before we say our final goodbyes, I have my last special guest. This is Kai. Kai's going to give this a taste, and he's going to give us a 1 to 10. Okay, go ahead. Do not joke with me. Okay.
I'll give it a 1. I'm just kidding. It's an 8.
It's an 8. Kai's a very tough critic. It's a 10 all day long for me. But you know, the kids are hard on you. All right. Throwing down on that bread. Your kids will love it. 7 ingredients. Have a great day.